Hi, this is CraftMind. Today I'm going to transform this, an abandoned mineshaft, into a base. Let's see what we can do with it. So, a mineshaft is in fact something that is very handy to make a base from, at least when you have found the badlands. Because in the badlands they connect to the surface and in other biomes they don't. A lot of structure is already made, a lot of place is already created. You only have to adapt it to your own wishes, and this is what I did in the other mountain here. Let's have a quick look at what I'm trying to make from this. I'm going to have a more elaborate tour later, but yes, this is what I want to make. Now let's see how we're going to do that. Alright, well, I am in creative mode because otherwise it would take a bit more time, and while it is very interesting to make in survival, if you want to make a video about it, then well, it would take too long. The first thing we really need is some light, so that you can see what I'm trying to do here. First things first, we have rails, but the rails are incomplete. I want to make them complete, but what I also want to do is I want to place them on something different. The only thing that is a bit annoying about the badlands is that the mineshafts here do use very colorful stones, very colorful bricks, and actually I wanted more stone-like, so I'm going to replace a lot of these. I want gravel, because that's actually what rails in reality are supported on, so I'm going to lay gravel under each rail, and where there isn't one I will replace them. That is my first step into making such a base. What a beautiful sentence, seriously. Okay, for the rest I'm going to mix a few kinds of stones here. So I want actual stone. Do I still have that? Yes. And I'm going to mix this up with some cobblestone, etc, etc. You know, you get the idea. Some cobblestone. If you mix things, then you create some texture, and that's always better than reusing the same block. And now that I've said this, I'm going to reuse the same block consistently for the first layer of the wall, and I'm going to fill this in cobblestone. Why? There is no why. That is not the best thing to do, but it's what I did for my base, and I'm merely showing you how I made my base. This is not so much a tutorial as it is an attempt to provide some inspiration. So, where are we? Placing gravel, placing rails, but we are not merely going to ensure that all the rails are there. I actually want minecarts, so I'm already providing place for a minecart that will continue on its way. So I'm placing powered rails every now and then, and we're going to be placing minecarts not here. This is just an example of what I try to do. Now, how do I further decorate, because this is more decorating than building? my mineshaft, well, the idea I had was the following. I want a bit of place down the middle. It will have to be at least 3 blocks high to give some illusion of space. Now, the mineshaft shouldn't be very open and airy, but at the very least you want to see ahead of you. Then I'm going to remove all the color here and replace it again with stone or andesite, whatever you have, whatever suits you in fact, and I chose these two. So mostly stone, and every now and then I place some stone bricks to make it less boring. I'm going to do a small piece just to give an idea. Now some stone bricks. These I mustn't do because something else will be here, and to give a bit more the illusion of a dungeon and a reinforced place, I'm going to add stairs like these on both sides, and it should give us a nice little effect. So there we are. It's still a bit dark, and one thing that will really change it is not removing your only light that you possess, but adding some lighter block in the middle and reattaching your lantern. Craft minds, what are you doing? Yes, that's a lot better in fact, and this is already starting to look great. Now, as a first approach, I don't want to change a lot here. What I did in my base is, this is a very small piece of mineshaft. Typically you have these intersections between two of these, and I enlarged them into a room. And of course, if you're going to make a base, you will need a place to sleep, you will need storage, you will need some material for crafting. I have added all of that. So without further ado, let's have a look at my base. Okay, here we are. I made a little bit of a path towards my mineshaft base, and this should be the main entrance. Nothing very spectacular, but a mineshaft base is by itself nothing very spectacular. That big thing over here was just to find my way back. Don't tell anyone. I know there are coordinates. Okay, let's get in. First things first, I have changed some things. I changed my concept, and I replaced the rails and placed them by the sides. If you do them in the middle, then you cannot easily pass. Why is this a problem? Because of this. I have actually rolling minecars that are hard at work, and if you have to pass them, you cannot avoid them. But if you place these to a side, then you have a lot more place to walk and also to decorate. Now, what else did I change? Not a lot. So this I kept, and this I have removed every side. There are always two supporting beams. I always removed one and kept one side and then the other side, so I have always the place to walk, and it still looks like some reinforced tunnel. I have added some nice little details. This carpet is for every time you cross the rails, because of course crossing rails is dangerous when trains are moving. Added some little details. I really like doing that. That's a tiny little action that you can take that really gives some depth to your build and, well, make it a bit less flat and at the same time adds water, which is always an interesting element. So placing these is very easy. I use stairs, stone stairs like this, like this, like this, and I add a bit of water. There we are, a lot nicer. Here I added some mossy bricks to the mix, added some plants into the walls, and as you see I have not only the tunnels, but I created some actual rooms. This is a first storage room, for which I used barrels because I simply like barrels, they're much nicer to look at. And in the end we have a little room with chests for my more valuable treasures. Watch out. Alright, this is actually my main room. More storage, some tools, and I even have 2 beds. So this is beginning to look like a real base. What else do I miss? I miss some furnaces, so I have this here. I have created a nice little indoor garden, and from here also made a rail. Now this one isn't functional, but I can imagine someone with good knowledge of redstone and, even more importantly, a lot of time on his hands could really automate a lot of this and make this into an actually magnificent build. I don't have the time for this, and the purpose of this video is, this is not really a building tutorial. This is, I want to share my ideas, nothing more. Here I tried it differently. I placed them a block higher, and well, I like it as well. And I did something different in the floor. It's a dustier place, and I actually like this. Is it better? It's better if you like it better. That's how it works. I tried this as well here. Actually, I tried 2 different approaches. I did it here, and I think I prefer this a little bit to the rest of this build, which is stone everywhere. So maybe I'm going to transform this completely into this, and I used path, I used podzol, and very sparingly some green. Lighting, of course, is very important. I experimented with some different kinds of lighting, but really when you're in a tunnel and you want lighting, yeah, you need lanterns. One more thing that I'd like to show. Yes, trains everywhere. I made a bridge to a mine shaft that went on at the other side, and you know, these places in mineshaft, you don't know what the purpose is, but it's a larger room and the floor is entirely dust and there's actually completely nothing there. Well, I found one conveniently close to my base, and without already exactly knowing its purpose, I started decorating it. I'm quite happy with the result, and actually I don't know exactly what to do here, but let me try something. I got a silly idea of flooding it, and I think it could work really well. So I'm going to place some water in here. Am I doing this right? If you go diagonal, then you should fill it up quite nicely. Oh yes, oh, that was nice. Now, does this work? I think it's... yes. The floor maybe won't work anymore, but we can change that. That's really beautiful. What would be really nice is if I could make some kind of tunnel here that eventually allows us to travel by boat and ends up in a canal. How beautiful would that be? But yes, so this is a bit what I made. I started with a mineshaft and I ended up with something that I really like, and something that if you put a lot of time in it, that you can improve and make an actually fascinating build out of it. That's all. I wonder if you liked it. I wonder if you have suggestions. Just let me know. Goodbye.